Hi everyone, and welcome to part one of our teacher series. So, this series is for anyone who is interested in either starting a debating, public speaking, or otherwise oracy club, society in their school, or perhaps a teacher or coach who is already running a debating club. Maybe you've been running a debating club for years, but you're just looking for a little bit of advice or help or taking things to the next level. This series is for you. So we're going to start at the most obvious place. Today we're going to talk about how to start a debating club. If you've already started one, this might still be useful for you. If you're thinking about starting one, this is definitely the video for you. So let's get right into it. So, step one, it seems obvious when we say it, but it's remarkable how often we need to say this when we talk to teachers. Just start debating. And I think that the reason this isn't more intuitive or more obvious to some teachers is they think that you have to build up to doing debates. And that is a way of doing things. And I've worked on some projects where we sort of scaffolded up to debating. But I think that that can be a useful thing to do if you have loads of lesson plans and loads of ideas and a really well thought out project. But I think that if this is just a part-time club that you're running, or I mean, not even part-time, you're a full-time teacher, then just get the kids debating. It's simple and it's effective. You know, the best way to get better at something is almost always going to be to do it. So you want your kids to get better at speaking, whether that's debating, public speaking, or all of the above, then yeah, start debates. So the way I would tend to advise doing this is firstly do it at a lunchtime rather than after school because you'll get better attendance. Usually, I advise using lunchtimes for practice debates and after school sessions for training. Now, when you start debating, particularly at lunchtimes, you want to start with a very easy format. Now, if you yourself did some debating, whether at high school or university, it can sometimes be a good idea to pick that format because it's a format you'll understand very well and therefore you'll be able to explain very well. If you know what format you're going to be competing in a lot, so for example, if you're in the UK and you know that you're going to be entering almost exclusively BP debating competitions, you might want to do the BP format, but again, only if you understand it. If you don't have a format that you understand right now, then I would pick a 3 versus 3 simple debate. So have 3 speakers who are for the debate, proposition, for the motion, and 3 speakers who are against the debate, the opposition, and they speak one at a time, going prop, then op, then prop, then op, then prop, then op. That is, I find, a really effective format for novice debaters. 2 on each side is a little bit small. It doesn't feel like a full debate. If you have 4 kids on each side or more, what you'll find is that kids will start repeating each other by speech 3 at best, sometimes beforehand, and so it isn't good usually by speech 4. Similarly to simple topics, pick similar to an easy format, pick simple topics. So, you know, don't start your debates. I'm sure you wouldn't do this, but don't start debates, even if your kids are smart or political, don't start with things like this house would make journalists have to pass a qualification, or this house would revoke the feline party whip in the Labour Party, or this house would replace first past the post with AV. Go for things that are easier and hopefully a little bit more relevant to your students' lives. Things like this house believes social media does more harm than good. This house would abolish exams. This house would lower the voting age to 12. This house would make the COVID vaccine mandatory. Things that the kids will have some thoughts on already and might care about are usually good topics. And the last thing when you start debating to really focus on here is when you give feedback and when you're telling them, you know, in prep time, like what to do, you really want to focus on a small number of key things. And those key things are going to be like, try to say points that are relevant to the debate, try to explain them, not just assert them. You know, we should lower the voting age because kids will care more about politics. Why is that true? Why is that important? Explain. Don't just assert. Try to get them to focus on things like that. Don't worry about things like body language, eye contact, projection, humor, wit, sarcasm. Don't worry about them having dead words, or like. Don't worry about that at all, okay? That stuff's all for future lessons and future feedback. Right now, we just want them to try and have some relevant things to say and to explain those things. And importantly, we want positivity. It's a game, it's meant to be fun, we want kids to enjoy it. And when you've started debating, one of the most important things to do is to cast a wide net. Just get as many kids through the door as you can. Don't think, oh yeah, I'm going to just target the A-level politics kids, or I'm going to target the GCSE economics kids, or the smart kids, or the confident kids. Don't do any of that. That's terrible. It's terrible for a lot of reasons. Firstly, you have no idea who's going to be good at debating. I promise. Because I've been doing this my entire adult life, and I'm still constantly surprised by the kids that end up being great and the kids that kind of never actualize their promise. On top of that, there's a lot of misperceptions about what good public speakers and good debaters look like, act like, are. My general experience is if I had two kids and all I knew about them was one's an introvert and one's an extrovert, I'd back the introvert to be a better public speaker. I'd back the extrovert to be a better networker. I'd back the extrovert to be more talkative in class. But I'd back the introvert to be a better public speaker. Similarly, the kids who study politics aren't the only kids who care about politics. And so I think that can be a bit of a misnomer as well. So with year levels, I mean, assuming that this is possible, get every age involved. Assuming you're in a high school, if you are in a primary school, only the top 2 years should really be involved. It's hard below that. But for high schools, don't just focus on the A-level kids or the GCSE kids. Let everyone and anyone in. Just get as many kids through the door as you can. The way to build a great debate club is to find a bunch of kids who are really going to like debating, commit to it, put the time and effort in, get good, and kind of raise the general standard of everyone. And to do that, you need some kids who are really going to take to this game. And you have a better chance of finding those kids if you just get everyone through the door. Expose as many kids as you can to debating. Some of them will love it. A bunch of them won't. Sorry. And with this, just be realistic, okay? It takes time for a club to get good. It takes time for debates to even feel like debates sometimes. I can't tell you the number of times when I've had my novice debaters come in for a school I'm working in, or if it's a new year group or something like that, and we do a practice debate and they all speak for 15 seconds each and sit back down. They have 15 minutes to prepare. It's a super simple motion. It's like this house would ban zoos. They stand up and say, we should ban zoos because zoos are cruel and it's not fair on the animals, and sit back down. And you're like, what? That wasn't a speech. And then you give them advice at the end of it, and next week they do the exact same thing. And you give them more advice on how to explain and what to focus on. And 4 weeks later, they're speaking for 22 seconds. It takes time. Debating's hard. Public speaking's hard. A lot of students will be bad at it when they start. And that's not a reflection on you as an educator. That's just reality. So, be realistic. You're not going to be winning debating competitions in the next few weeks. Your kids aren't going to be giving like rousing Michelle Obama-esque speeches anytime soon unless you're really lucky and you have a few gifted kids. It's going to take time, but don't lose heart. A year or 2 years and you'll be astounded at the progress you can make. And so, with that said, you have to enjoy the process. I know that we've often got our goals, and we're going to talk about goal setting in future videos. And as teachers, we want our students to be amazing. We want them to be interesting and thoughtful and empathetic and understanding and witty and clever and incisive. And we want to see them express that oratorically. But you can't just be thinking about the end goal because it is going to take some time. So enjoy the process. Have fun with them. Set some fun motions, some interesting topics. It's meant to be a club. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a game. So, enjoy your lunchtimes with your students. Enjoy the weird, quirky things they say. Enjoy the weird arguments they run. Enjoy the fact that they come up with some really, like, off the wall points on relatively straightforward debates because they will. Enjoy the little victories. Enjoy when a kid reaches 1 minute speaking time for the first time. Enjoy it when a child feels comfortable enough to make a joke mid speech or to be sarcastic. Enjoy it when younger kids feel comfortable debating against the older kids. Enjoy these things. So, next time we're going to look at the biggest mistakes that we see. So we've been doing this a while now. I've been coaching debating for over a decade. And we're going to look at some of the biggest mistakes we see, both from inexperienced and experienced teachers and coaches. I hope you found this useful, but if there's anything you want to ask, and you don't want to just watch all the other videos, please do comment below or just give us an email. Similarly, if you're interested in us doing some work with your staff, right now we mostly do CPD with teachers. That's kind of the predominant area of work we do. So if you'd like us to do some work with your staff, we'd be delighted to hear from you. But if you'd like us to work directly with your students, we do sometimes do that as well if we have time. So get in touch. Until then, keep debating. Have a great time starting your debate club and having a bunch of arguments with your students at lunchtime, and we'll see you for the next video very soon. Bye now.